Hi Verbling, my name's Michaela. I'm from Phoenix, Arizona, and today we're talking about the present perfect. I'll put the notes in the chat box for you guys, where we'll start. And I'll also put my Facebook name in the chat box. If you guys want to friend me on Facebook, you're welcome to send me messages there, ask me any questions you have, or just say hi. And you should also check out my Verbling schedule. I do tutor sessions, and I have wide open hours this week. So let's get started. Hi, Jane, how are you? Hussein, are you there?
Yeah. Hello.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing very well, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing very well also. Back to the work week, but I'm ready for it.
Yeah.
Are
Very good.
you, do you have a big work week coming up, Hussein?
No, I don't have.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Very nice. Anas, welcome to class.
Welcome, Michaela.
Good to see you back, Anas. How are you?
I'm pretty good, thank you. How are you?
Doing very well. Thanks for asking. And
You're
Zeno,
welcome.
welcome to class.
Thank you, teacher. How are you today?
Doing really well. Ready for a couple classes and then maybe walking the dogs. So it'll be a nice day. I put the notes in the chat box for you guys, and I'm going to put it in the Google chat box right now if that's where you're looking. So you guys can open those or follow along with me. We're going to start talking about the present perfect. So some of this might be review for you guys. We're going to start from the beginning with the simple form of present perfect, and you guys might already know that. Have you guys already had lessons on present perfect before?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So let's see. Anas, what do you find the most difficult part about present perfect?
Actually, I find it not very difficult. It's easy stuff.
Okay, so not difficult, but interesting. What makes it
I,
interesting?
I didn't say it is interesting, but it is not difficult. At least it is form is clear and very easy.
Great. All right.
Yes.
So then what makes it interesting? Why are you interested in it if it's not difficult?
Um, there is no specific reason, but it is
All right.
very nice rule.
All right. Supplemental English. Cool. How about
Mm.
Hussein? Do you
Mm-hmm.
find the present perfect difficult in
Not
any
that
way?
difficult, but I got confused sometimes when I when to use it while I talk. I can get confused between the past perfect and present perfect sometimes. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. That's, I think, one of the biggest difficulties is knowing when to use it. That can be
Yeah.
tough.
Yeah.
All right. Javier, welcome to class.
Hello, how are you?
Doing really well. How are you?
Fine, thank you.
Awesome. Javier, you've already seen this material, I'm pretty sure, right? We did the past perfect together once.
Yes, I paid.
Excellent. So today you're just coming for a review?
Yes, of course.
Awesome. Good to have you here. And Zeno, what do you find the most difficult about the present perfect?
Oh, sorry, teacher. Can you repeat, please?
Sure. What do you find the most difficult part about the tense present perfect?
Present perfect. Sometimes I use present perfect. For example, I have ever seen a tiger in the zoo.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Mm,
right. So is there anything you find difficult about the present perfect?
mm, I don't know.
Okay, well, we'll find out today. Su Ming, welcome to class.
Hello, good to see you.
Good to have you with us. So what do you find difficult about the present perfect?
Difficult. The present perfect is used for the past event that is
Uh-huh.
not mentioned in time.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, and Alejandro, welcome to class.
Hello, thank you.
Have you had a class on the present perfect before, Alejandro?
Yes.
Awesome. And do you find it easy or difficult?
It depends sometimes because maybe it's a little confused in some cases. No. When do you, when do you need to use?
Yeah, that's one of the most difficult parts, is knowing when to use the present perfect. Because
Yes.
the form is relatively easy, but when it can be difficult.
Yes.
All right, and Amr, welcome to class. Oops, maybe he's still loading. All right, Amr, give us a shout out when you are ready, and you can unmute yourself. In the meantime, we'll go over the first part of our notes today, which just talks a little bit about the form of the present perfect. So this first part is pretty simple. It's have plus the participle. So what are some participles? Give me examples of participles. I'd like everyone to give me 2 or 3 participles that they can think of. Su Ming, can you give me some participles?
Participle gone.
Sure, gone.
Age.
Did you say ate?
Yeah, age. Oh,
As in the past
no,
tense of
eaten. Eaten.
eaten. Yeah, there we go. Eaten. Okay. Gone and eaten. Those are great ones. Zeno, can you give me a couple more participles?
For example, spoken.
Yeah, spoken. Sure.
Spell it.
And one more.
Spell it.
Sorry, what was that?
Spell it. Spell.
Spelled?
Spell it.
Okay, spelled. That's a good one. And, oh, did you have another?
Spread.
Spread?
Yes.
Okay, good. And Javier, can you give us a couple? Some participles?
Yes. Spent.
Spent, all right.
Written.
Written. Great.
Read.
What was that?
Read.
Bread?
Read.
Ah, read. Yes. Read. Excellent. Thank you very much. Hussein, can you give us a few participles?
Yeah, known, done.
Uh-huh. Awesome. Thank you, Hussein. Anas, give us a couple participles.
Cut, shut, and spoken, right?
Yeah. Cut, shot, and spoken.
Yes.
Good. Got kind of some violent participles there.
Because cut and shut don't change its form.
Yeah, that one's pretty funny. It's irregular, but it's always the same.
Mhm.
Good one. Okay, Amr, can you give us a couple participles? Amr, you're muted. So if you're having audio,
Lecture.
there we go. Hey, welcome to class.
It's nice to see you.
Good to have you with us. Can you give us a couple participles to add to our list? Yeah, that one's
Any
pretty.
verb?
I'm sorry, what?
Any verb?
Any verb, yeah, whatever verb.
Get, got, got.
We've got gotten. And one more. Give us one more participle.
Okay. See, saw, seen.
Great. Seen. Okay, and last but not least, Alejandro, can you give us a couple more participles?
Yes. Been,
Mm-hmm.
broken, come.
Yeah. Okay. So participles can be difficult because they're very irregular, so sometimes they can be hard to remember. But you guys did an excellent job of giving us a long list of participles. I'm going to put them in the chat box now. And we'll get on reading a little bit about when we use the present perfect. So we have an example here of the very simple way to use present perfect. I have eaten, you have eaten, etc. She has eaten, he has eaten. And that's one of the biggest mistakes students make. They forget to use has instead of have. So make sure not to do that today. And also, I'd like to encourage you guys we're going to be creating some sentences today. I encourage you to try complex sentences. So today we're focusing on the conjugation of the present perfect, but don't just make simple sentences like he had gone or something, because it's not exactly a risk. So try today to make really creative sentences, and if you're wrong, that's okay, because then we'll talk about what went wrong, and we'll all learn a little bit from it. So don't make simple sentences. Try to make long, creative sentences so we all learn a little more. Okay, so we have a paragraph here, and I'm going to ask Alejandro to read it for us.
Okay. We use the present perfect to say that an action happened at the unspecific time before now. The exact time is not important. You cannot use the present perfect with specific time expressions such as yesterday, 1 year ago, last week, when I was a child, when I live in Japan, at the moment, that day, one day, etc. We can use the present perfect with a specific expression such as ever, never, once, many, times, several times, before, so far, already, yet, etc.
Awesome. So those words can really cue you into what will be the best conjugation, because if you have a specific time, you can't use the present perfect. In that case, you'd have to use something like the simple past or the past perfect, because that's the main difference between past perfect and the way we use present perfect, is that present perfect cannot be used with a specific time, but it can be used with these adverbs here. Okay, so it's hard to know when to use the present perfect, so we're going to talk today about exactly the situations when present perfect is appropriate. And if we get time, we're going to have an exercise at the end to compare the present perfect and the simple past. So for now, we're going to read and come up with our own examples of these kinds of situations. So to talk about experience is the first example we're going to look at. And Amr, would you mind reading that paragraph for us about to talk about experience? Amr, are you there?
Yes. It's like saying I had the experience of. You can also use this tense to say that you have never had a certain experience. The present perfect is not used to describe a specific event.
Thank you very much. Okay, so we have a few examples and explanations here. And these examples, I'm going to ask Anas to read for us.
With pleasure. I have been to France. This sentence means that you have had the experience of being in France. Maybe you have been there once or several times. I have been to France 3 times. You can add the number of times at the end of the sentence. I have never been to France. This sentence means that.
Thank you very much. So 3 examples of how we can talk about an experience you have or have not had. So I'd like you guys to write a sentence using this, but in the negative. So talk about an experience you have not had. That would be something like the last sentence here. You can say, I've never blah, 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 or my brother has never blah, blah, blah. So make a sentence in the negative. You can use never or you can use haven't. I haven't done such and such, or I have never gone to blank place. Make it a long, complex sentence and put it in the chat box whenever you're ready. So you're going to write your sentences in the chat box, and then we will go over them together and discuss any problems we find. Excellent. Looks like we have our sentences. So I haven't gone to the USA. Great sentence, Carolina. Simple but great. And sorry, Diana, welcome to class. Are you Diana Carolina?
Hello, teacher. Yes, it is. I'm Diana Carolina.
Great to meet you. Where are you from?
I'm from Colombia.
Awesome. Well, good to have you with us. Do you prefer I call you Diana or Carolina?
Carolina, thank you.
All right, no problem. Thanks for your sentence. Next up, I have never traveled by plane. Okay, pretty good one. Never traveled by plane. And I have never been to the United States, but I will be there in the future. Interesting. Su-Ming, you have some travel plans?
Maybe.
Very cool. Great sentence. Now looking at the Google chat box, let's see what we have. I've never been in China. Okay, that's a pretty good sentence. Thank you, Javier. Next up, I have never I already said that one. I have never stayed in the hospital for a long time. Awesome sentence, Gino. I think you missed the N in never. because we're making this a negative sentence, and it wouldn't make much sense to say I have ever stayed. So, little typo there. I have never stayed in the hospital. Make sure you have that article before hospital. Never stayed in the hospital for a long time. As long as you add those two things in, it's a perfect sentence. Thank you. I have never taken English conversations live before this day. It's just amazing. Wow. Excellent sentence, Anas. I'm glad it's a verbally positive sentence.
Thank you.
And possible to say, okay, so we have one more question, one more sentence. It's actually a question. Is it possible to say, I haven't studied German? Yes, it is possible. So you can say, I haven't studied German, or I haven't gone to the moon. We can just as easily say haven't as I have never. And it means basically the same thing. Very good question. I just have one comment on the form of that question, and that is we don't have a subject there, and we need one. So it's better to say, is it possible to say da da da. So a correction on the actual question, but your question is totally correct, that we can use I haven't studied German.
Okay, thank you, teacher.
No problem. Okay, so on to the next way to use it is a change over time. This one's pretty short. Carolina, can you read the sentence about change over time and the examples for us?
Yes, teacher. Change over time. We often use the present perfect to talk about change that has happened over a period of time. Examples. You have grown since the last time that I saw you. The government has become more interested in arts education. And now you try one about the change.
Okay, so this time you guys are going to write a sentence talking about a change over time, but I want you guys to use the subject they. So last time I saw a lot of I have never and I have not, that kind of thing. Use the subject they in this one. So talk about a different group of people. And like I said in the beginning of class, try to make your sentences complex. That way we have stuff to talk about, like why something is right or why something is wrong. So make long, complex sentences with the subject of they talking about a change over time, and put it in the chat box whenever you're ready. Okay, let's get started reading these. They have created a movement over years which can change the whole country. Good sentence, Hussein. I like it. Creative. A couple article issues here. They have created a movement over the years. Over the years. And that's a great time phrase to use with present perfect. Over the years is a sure sign that present perfect is the right tense, which can change the whole country. So just a couple articles missing. Other than that, it's perfect. Thank you very much. Next up, I'm so sorry for John and Sam. They finally have given up smoking, which is something they were trying to do something a long time. Grom? What does Grom mean from? Okay, so Awesome sentence, but I'm a little confused. If they did something really good, why are you sorry?
I wrote it. I did a mistake. It should be happy.
Ah, happy. Okay, yes, that makes so much more sense. So I am so happy for John and Sam. They finally have given up smoking, which is something they were trying to do for a long time. So that preposition should be for, not from. And we're going to talk in a little bit more about the preposition for and how we use it with present perfect. So if you're a little confused on the difference between for and from and since, we will be talking about that later. Next sentence. I have learned English since I started my classes. All right, good one. I have learned English. Now this one is a little bit interesting because the way that you say it, it probably should be a progressive thing because it's an action that's happening over a period of time. So a better way to say that would be something like, I have been learning. I have been learning English since I started my classes, because learning is a process. It's not something that happens like one time and then again tomorrow and then again a week from now. It's not something that like just happens. It's a process. So we're going to use the progressive with the present tense in this particular situation. Awesome sentence. Thank you, Javier.
You're welcome.
Next up, I haven't seen El Chavo since I was a child. Who's El Chavo, Alejandro?
Here in Mexico, it's a TV show for children.
Ah, I see. All right, well, it looks like a great sentence. No corrections there. Thanks, Alejandro.
Thank you.
Next up, they haven't seen him since childhood. Excellent sentence, Almer, but actually we do not need an article here. So you can talk about childhood as like a general topic without the. And other than that, it's perfect. Next up, she has traveled to many places. All right, that's a pretty good one. She has traveled to many places. No corrections made there. Countries have become more populated last years. Okay, great sentence, but we need a preposition to attach when it happened. So countries have become more populated in the last, we'll say last few years, would be a much more natural way to say that particular time phrase. You could say in the last few years or over the last few years. Or you can just say over the, which is one we talked about a little earlier. Over the years would make sense as well. And any of those would be great ways to attach the time phrase. Okay, they have had a lot of money to spend in recreation after they won the lottery. Wow. That's a positive sentence. So let's see, they have had a lot of money to spend for recreation would make a little more sense. So use for instead of in. To spend for recreation after they won the lottery. Great, great sentence. And let's see if we have any in the Verbling chat. This is a great one. Surely Michaela's class has become more and more interesting and enjoyable. Ooh, thank you, Andy. Yeah, great sentence. I really can't make any corrections there. That's obviously a perfect sentence. Brown noser. All right. I have never had a dog. That's a good one. That's probably one meant for the last time we were doing sentences. I've never had a dog. Good. I've never been. Okay. Yeah. So I think we got to all of them. Great sentences, guys. We're going to go on to the next topic. And this time, Hussein, will you read about accomplishments and the examples? So I'll highlight the part right here.
We often use the present perfect to list the accomplishments of individuals and humanity. You cannot mention a specific time. Examples: man has walked on the moon. Our son has learned how to read.
Awesome. So let's make a sentence talking about accomplishments. And let's see. I'd like your sentences to be at least 8 to 15 words long. So this time I'd like you guys to make some long sentences. Use at least 8 words and above. Could be 15 words, could be more if you're really excited about this particular prompt. But make a sentence that is at least 8 words. And whenever you're ready with your 8-word sentence, put it in the chat box. And if you guys have any questions, let me know. I'll give you guys one more minute to finish up your sentences and put them in the chat box. All right, looks like we have a few ready. Okay. Happily, my friend has bought a new car after the bank accepted her request of credit. Awesome. It's a great sentence. I'm not totally sure it's talking about an accomplishment, but I guess it could be a kind of accomplishment. I guess having a car is an accomplishment. And instead of saying a request of credit, you might want to say a request for credit. That would make a little more sense. Awesome, Carolina, thank you. Next up, man has succeeded in creating machines to make life easier. Awesome sentence, Javier. Just a couple small corrections here. So man has succeed in, so we'll say man has succeeded in creating, that's the first correction, man has succeeded in creating machines to make life easier.
Okay.
There we go. Just flip around a couple of those expressions and we have a perfect sentence. Thanks, Javier.
You're welcome.
Next up, people have learnt how to do agriculture so that the first seeds of civilization was sowed into the ground. Interesting sentence, Javier. Definitely an accomplishment.
It's mine.
Oh, sorry. No, I don't know why I said Javier. I meant Hussein. And let's see. A couple small corrections we can make. People have learned, as far as I use in American English, we don't use the T for, well, I think it's optional. Maybe we can use the T as well. So I won't say that that's totally wrong. People have learned how to do agriculture. Sounds a little bit strange. How about how to use agriculture? That might make more sense. So people have learned how to use agriculture so that the first seeds of civilization were, because it's a plural thing, more than one seed, were sowed into the ground. Awesome. Thank you, Hussein. Next up, I don't remember where, but I think I have seen you before. Great sentence, Zeno. It's not exactly an accomplishment, but it is a good sentence using the present perfect, so well done. Next up, I've won the university prize for excellent students. Pretty cool. Great sentence, Amr. Let's see. Yeah. Maybe make university possessive, so it might sound a little better. Cities with an apostrophe S. I've won the university's prize for excellent students. And maybe make it singular, unless there's more than one award. If there are many awards, then maybe you can keep it plural. But otherwise, you might want to say, I have won the university's prize for excellence. Oops, not like that. Yeah, I've won the university's prize for excellence or student excellence. Student excellence. That would be excellent. An excellent sentence for an excellent student. And last one I see in the Google chat box, she's wished a reward for her good work. Yeah, you saw the error you made and corrected it immediately. Well done, Alejandro. So instead of she have, we need she has. She has wished a reward for her good work. All right, that's good, but I feel like it might be better if you use want, like wanted. She has wanted a reward for her good work, or maybe even desired. Desired. Wish is an okay word to use in this sentence. It just sounds a little strange because wish is usually the kind of thing that you do on your birthday when you blow out the birthday candles. Like you make a very specific wish to, you know, the world or God or something. So it's a little bit weird, but it's not a bad verb. It's just unusual.
Okay.
All right, let's see if we have any in the Verbling chat box. Nope, none there. Sorry about that, guys. My computer switched screens on me.
Don't worry.
So let's get back to it. And our next one is completed, an uncompleted action you're expecting. And this one I'm going to ask Javier to read for us.
Yes. and completed action you're expecting. We often use the present perfect to say that an action which we expected has not happened. Using the present perfect suggests that we are still waiting for the action to happen. Examples: Jane has not finished his work yet. Susan hasn't mastered Japanese, but she can communicate.
Thank you very much. So these ones are usually in the negative, since we're talking about something that you're expecting, but something that has not yet happened. Most of them will be in the negative. And I think I'd like the same rule as the last sentence, which is at least 8 words long. And I know it's a little tougher to make your sentences 8 words long, but I think it's a more rewarding experience. So, same thing, 8 words long, and put it in the chat box whenever you're ready. And of course, if you have any questions while you're writing, you're welcome to ask me. All right, a couple in the Google chat box. It is bad. I have lost my keys. That is bad. So it's another good sentence in the present perfect, but it's not the topic that we're talking about. It's not an uncompleted action that you're expecting. It's something that actually did happen. So it's a good sentence. It's not exactly what this topic is about. If you want to try another sentence, you still have time probably. But it's an excellent sentence and I have no corrections for it. So thank you for your sentence, Zeno. Next up, he hasn't participated in our team yet. We still keep talking to him to persuade. All right, awesome, Hussein. Let's see. So he hasn't participated in our team yet. We are still talking to him. That would make a little more sense. So we are still talking to him to persuade him. And persuade needs an object. So persuade him would be a little better. There you go. Next sentence, I have not fixed a problem on my computer. Okay, and maybe that sentence would be a little better if we said the problem, because probably it's a specific problem, not just any problem, right? So in theory, this sentence works, but you would never really use this kind of sentence because either your computer has like a specific problem, in which case you would refer to it as the problem, or it doesn't. Next up, Hussam hasn't taken the TOEFL exam yet, although he attended the preparation course. Nice, Anas. That's a wonderful sentence. And I think it's perfect. No corrections necessary there.
Thank you.
Okay. I haven't eaten or drunk anything from 2 a.m. till now. Wow. So this is an awesome sentence, but it sounds a little strange because it uses a specific time. And like we talked a little bit, we touched on this in the beginning of class, we can't use really specific times with the present perfect because it's something a little more general than that. So we can say like, I've been to France, but you can't say I've been to France in 2001 because that's a specific time. So your sentence is great, but let's make it a little more general to go along with the present perfect tense. So we could change it to, I haven't eaten or drunk anything for hours. You can say for hours. Or some kind of time period rather than a specific time would make better sense. Next up, I have not gotten fluency in English, but I'm working for it. Way to be active, Carolina. So, I haven't become is a little better here because fluency isn't really something you can get. Something you can get would be like, I go to the store and I get milk, right? I buy the milk and then I have the milk. But fluency, because it's a process, we usually do not use the verb get. So become is better here so that you can show it's a process of becoming fluent. I have not become fluent, so not fluency, but fluent in English, but I'm working for it. Excellent. Although I have studied English many years, I haven't spoken English very fluently yet. All right, awesome sentence, Javier. I don't think we need the adjective very there. Or I guess that's an adverb. But so I would say take out very, because fluent is kind of like a peak, almost like the difference between a gradable and non-gradable adjective. Like for instance, I can't say very exhausted because exhausted is already extreme. So there's no higher, but I could say very tired because that's gradable. So I don't know if you guys have had this before, but gradable adjectives would be like tired, where you can say I'm a little tired or I'm very tired. And then we have something like exhausted, where you can't be a little exhausted because exhausted is so extreme. And fluency is kind of the same thing. So I would not use very, but other than that, it's an excellent sentence, Javier.
Thank you.
Okay, I have not finished the school, but I hope to do it this year. Excellent, but get rid of the article before school because it's usually it's something that we talk about in terms without an article. If you're talking about school in general, you're not talking about like a specific school, I assume. So I think it would sound better without the article. And next, he hasn't gotten a job yet. So he stays at home very bored. Okay, he stays with an S. He stays at home and is very bored. Because we cannot say he stays bored. We have to say he is bored. The last one, oh, yeah. Okay, so I think we've gotten through all of them. Do you guys have any questions before we go on to the next prompt?
No.
Awesome. Then let's go on to the next one. This one is the last one we're talking about specifically, and then we're going to talk a little bit more about for and since, which is some common mistakes that we make, and a couple of mistakes we've seen already today. And for multiple actions, I'm going to ask Zeno to read for us.
We also use the present perfect to talk about several different actions which have occurred in the past at different times. Present perfect suggests the process is not complete and more actions are possible. Example: the enemy has attacked that city 5 times. I have had 4 quizzes and 5 tests so far this semester.
Excellent. So this is your last sentence that we'll be doing specifically on different present perfect situations. We'll be making a couple more for and since maybe, if we have the time. Make one sentence talking about multiple actions at different times. And if you're really looking for more practice, make a sentence and then turn your sentence into a question. So some of the sentences we see here are the army has attacked the city 5 times. To turn that into a question, we would say, has the army attacked the city 5 times? So make a sentence, and if you have extra time, turn your sentence into a question. All right, ready. We have a couple done already. I have formatted my laptop 4 times because I had many software bugs and some viruses. Awesome. And I just want to make sure you know that when people use "cuz," it's actually slang and it's not totally correct English. So I just want to make sure that you know that when you say "cuz" instead of "because," it's slang. We do have the word cause in English, and that would be like the cause of the sickness was the virus or something like that. But it's used differently. So it's a good sentence, and you used a little slang in there. So it's a little informal, but it's a great sentence.
Okay.
All right. I have played tennis 5 times, and I have gone to run 3 times so far this month. Great. And we just need an S on the end of time there, but I'm sure that was just a typo. Thank you very much, Javier. Next up, has Anas formatted his laptop 4 times because he faced some troubles? Okay, excellent question, but we have to use has if you're talking about a person, like he. Other than that,
That's
it's
clear.
excellent. Well done. Well executed question. Next, I have never fought against a monster like this so far, said Leonidas. Wow, pretty cool. Instead of saying so far, I think it's better to say before. I don't know why, it just sounds a little strange to say so far in that context. Maybe it's the placement. In fact, yeah, okay. So I think so far sounds better when you use it at the beginning. So you could say something like, so far I have never fought a monster like this. Or you could say, I have never fought a monster like this before. And I can't really explain why we use one way and the other a different way. But all I can say is that it sounds a little strange to say so far at the end. So there we go. Next up, the electricity has switched off 3 times so far. Okay, same thing. Well, yeah, same thing. I would switch so far to the beginning of your sentence. But it's an excellent sentence. Thank you very much, Amr. Have you known about David in 2 weeks ago? Interesting one, Javier. So what exactly do you mean? First, it's a little strange to say. It's a little strange to say, have you known? Because knowing something like a fact doesn't take a process. So that would be something more like, did you know about David? But I'm a little confused as to what you mean by this question, because we would never say in 2 weeks ago. We would probably say like just 2 weeks ago. We don't need a preposition there, unless you're talking about the future. Can you explain your sentence for us a little, Alejandro? What are you talking about? Like, what kind of situation do you imagine using this sentence?
Yes, I ask as someone for David.
You asked what? Something about David?
I ask someone for David.
Oh, a word. So, like, you wanted to know about a word?
Yes.
Yeah, so for that kind of situation, it's not something we could use the present perfect for, because it's a one-time event, or you mean it's happened many times. So if you've frequently asked David and you want to use the present perfect, you can say, have you asked about, like, over 2 weeks, I have asked David many questions. So that would be a little bit of a reformatting of the same idea of your sentence. Over 2 weeks, I have asked many questions. And if you want to turn it into a question, you would then say, over 2 weeks, have you asked David many questions? Or has he, you could say, has he asked David many questions? And that would be a little better. Great. All right. Oh, we have a couple in the chat box this time. Teacher, can you tell me what that mean? I had been in that place. That's mean it is the same that I have been in that place? Oh, that's a confusing question. I'm a little unsure about what you mean here. The difference between I have been and I had been. Excellent question, Claudia. And I'm going to ask Javier to help us here. Javier, can you explain to Claudia the difference between present perfect and past perfect?
I try. The present perfect is a tense when the action is not finished, but the past perfect is when two actions are finished. Is okay?
Awesome. Yes, exactly. So in the past perfect, whatever you're talking about is over and done. And the present perfect, it's something that's like up until now. So it's something that has been happening maybe for a period of time, but it hasn't yet really finished. It's up until now. Versus in the past, we're talking about an event that happened in the past, usually before another past event. So it's commonly used in conjunction with simple past. And I wish I had more time to give you an explanation, but I have another class that's starting right now. So I'm going to give you guys a link for another exercise that you guys can do. This will be an exercise. It corrects you, so you can do it and get the answers yourself. And hopefully you guys will find that helpful as an addition to this lesson to kind of check the concepts we talked about already. Thank you all very much for coming, and I hope to see you guys again soon.
Thank you, teacher.
Bye, guys.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.